Was bragging with it. Was bragging. Was bragging with it on Sunblood Island. I just said that. Yes, I just said that. I just kindly just said that. I did. I said that. Okay. You doing? Yeah, we got a different point of view. You know what I'm saying? That being said, there we go. Put the generals in front of y'all. There you go. Right there. Settles. So, what's happening with it, people? Hopefully y'all doing great. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have people to come in. They probably just got their notifications or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So we got another great topic. Now I know a lot of people like, bro, you talking a lot about family. Because a lot of things are being revealed about family, baby. Oh yes, we got a good one. Now this is the thing about it, right? This is going to be knowledge, right, about the technology of the body, but also intertwining that knowledge into family. That way you can understand, like, how can I say in simple terms, how people are actually operating, why the way they are operating the way they are. Certain questions you may ask, you may get your answers. You may be prepared for the truthful answer of what you actually want to know. You understand about your family? Because a lot of people, they kind of like, they got a lot of questions. They like, yo, it's like I woke up and then I'm just starting to realize a lot of things about my family. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you wake up. You're gonna realize a whole lot of things that's actually around you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like once you realize, right, you gotta understand like everything that you realize and it's the truth. It's like taking the veil underneath your eyes and you just now you get to see what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? So you the things that you get to view and that you see truthfully, right, is not you. Yeah, it's not you. You just got vision. And when you got vision, you can see everything truthfully. That means that the system can't control you no more. It just can't. It's sometimes, depending on who you are, you kind of get kicked out of the system because it's your time to wake up. Even if you're trying to force yourself back to sleep, you know what usually happens? The people that's in the past, right? They know who you are. So if you expecting them to put on the same act that they were acting, that act has came to a closing now. They're supposed to be just like how you telling me you like, yo, they trying to destroy me. They supposed to do that. And you looking at me like I'm crazy. You know what it is? A lot of people got emotionally attached to families that are nothing more than self-destroyers to themselves. Thank you. Now you got to ask yourself a question. What's the point of being mostly attached to something, right? That's nothing more than a self-destroyer to itself. I mean, pay attention to the picture of your own self, though. You decide, I don't want to do this no more. Okay, that's your choice. Understand, they have the same choice that you have too. You cannot, I will tell you this, you can lead them to the well, but they do not have to drink it. You have to understand you're the savior of yourself and not everyone else. Thank you. The false illusion that they gave you, someone came here and saved everybody, that's a lie. Everybody can't be saved in this world. That's including the illusion of your family. Okay? So, some people feel like, just being honest, some people feel as though like, how can I say in simple terms? They don't have nothing else besides, what they had. That's not really true. That's not really true. It's not. Due to my experiences of what I'm going through. I understand that you have to let go of the old in order to acquire the new. You have to. It's just as much as you saying, let me show you what I mean. It's just as much as someone saying, yo, bro, when I eat this type of food or information and data, right? It's actually like making my body hurt. Okay, so what you got to pay attention to is your body has a response system to all food and information data that you eat. It's responding to the information data that you input, letting you know the body's hurting. So what I would ask you is this: if your own body hurting, right, and your own make your body hurt, your mind hurt. What's the point in putting in the memories and the information and data from them? What's the point of doing that? I'm not understanding. Well, I want them to change. I said it again. You can lead them to the well, but it's their choice to drink. Okay? You have to understand with yourself, right? Your emotional attachments could be literally keeping you away from the future. Understand? I'm gonna say this now. There's someone, right, that's in, how can I say, they not maybe in, hopefully they understand in the future. There's someone that I'm speaking to, right? They have a problem. Do you know what their problem is? Do you know what their problem is? Their problem is that they are emotionally attached to their past, which means their family, right? They family know exactly what the fuck they doing to their mind. I'm just listening. Okay? So let's get to talking about this shit, right? So what happens in this situation was this that I kind of find very funny. The individual is talking to me about, certain things that's going on in their family. They are actually like, crying about it, whatever the case may be. And what I started to understand is with that their emotional system is already attached to the past already. For one. What you have to understand is that your enemy will use your emotional system against you. Thank you. It's just like the person told me, I was trying to make you upset, and I'm like, yeah, because you play like everybody else. That's why I don't play with you, because in the simple fact, that's what everybody else do. So that let me know you still in the world. I'm about to go look. I'm about, it's the real one to come to me. Anyways, right? Um, in that situation, I looked at the individual like, okay, you play like everyone else. You do. Let me show you what I mean. The individual is in sorrow and pain when it comes to the past. When the future roll up, they play around with it. But this is the thing about it. They only playing, right, against themselves. Not playing against me. Not. You know what I'm saying? The average person think like that, but in all reality, it's just not that. Okay? I like when people sit here and think to themselves, oh no, I'm playing the game against you. That's the illusion that I forecast upon you. That's what you have to understand. Okay? If you think in your head, right, as someone that eats artificial ingredients, how you a real being? Artificial, A, ingredients, I. Please tell me how you a real being. How are our interactions actually real, right? Watch this. He's speaking English. The technology of your minds can't read. He's speaking English, right? The technology of the minds can't read. They're going to simply say to themselves, what is he talking about? What am I talking about? The things that you acquire inside of the store. What is inside the store from the third dimension of consciousness? Food. Okay, in a higher consciousness, what you think that really is? These are the third dimensional minds. They get upset at they get upset with themselves at the things they can't understand. People are going to the store and they're classifying all food as food, not actually understanding the word food is an illusion. Behind that, food comes down to information and data. That's what it comes down to. Or you can be food to the information and data inside of the food. If you can't pick up what I'm speaking in English, it is not me, it is a self thing. You may be disconnected from your right brain. Left minds can't interpret what I'm saying. You need yourself. I am speaking as myself. So you need yourself, right? in order to decode exactly what I'm talking about. If you are left mind, you are completely lost. I'll show you. I'll show you. That way you can understand something with yourself. If you are all left mind, I am able to lie to you, and you are not able to decode the lies of what I'm speaking to you. Okay? I'm gonna tell you a lie, and I'm gonna make sure that you believe it as the truth. Okay? You eat hamburgers, don't you? You eat hamburgers on grill outs. You know what I'm saying? You eat hamburgers on. You eat hamburgers, don't you? Now pay attention to the minds above you. You see the minds? Those are left minds. I'm telling you a lie to your face. How you can't decode it? But isn't that the lie that's installed in your mind? Isn't that the memory that's installed in your mind? A lie. Understand how your mind works? You get it? How is it a hamburger if there's no ham inside the burger? While you're laughing, right? Just understand you're laughing at the truth. You are not laughing at the lie. So you understand? With yourself, how is it a hamburger if there's no ham inside the burger? Understand when your mind get to thinking about truth, the left mind is already programmed to block the truth from itself. So how could it be truthful minds? Okay then. So let's just get into the mind a little bit more, right? Of what I actually discovered. In order to make a mind into a lie of itself, what you have to understand is that the mind and the brain, right, has connection. That connection come down to the pineal gland. And let me show you how you make the mind. Let me show you how you can basically block the brain of their cells and just program them with their mind. It's very easy. So what you have to do is simply you need to have a fresh mind, right? What you need to do is you have to give the minds artificial ingredients, which is AI. That's what you have to give them. Okay. What it end up happening is the pineal gland will decalcify. Right. The right brain is blocked away now. Now you only have a left mind, which means you can computerize them in any type of mode that you want them to. You can make them systematic babies, artificial babies. You can make them anything that you want to. That is the process that you have to do. You understand? Don't look at me like I'm the problem. People don't want the solution. So I'd rather just look at the problem that's at hand and pretty much just say, shit, this is how you can correct them. You understand? So what you got to understand is that humanoid minds are all left wing minds. None of them are attached to their right brains. Okay? They don't have access to that. They don't have access to the truthful character that's within them. Do you know why? Everyone signed up to be a project and pretty much a specimen towards, how can I say, simpleness, like the consciousness of the moon. What I mean by that, as in simply as this, you got to understand that the moon and the sun, they both consciousness. Okay, that's what you got to understand. The moon is a nothing more than a computer generated AI consciousness. Understand? The people that are upon the earth, right, have the same consciousness as the moon. How is that? In order to have a connection, like Bluetooth, right? What you have to understand is that both devices, right, the technology of your body and the technology of the moon, right, both devices have to have both forms of information and data in order to synchronize or have a connection. Understand? So, what you have to understand today is that majority of these, right, are nothing more than creations of the moon. Humanoids are creations of the moon. They're not creations of the sun. They're not creations of, they're not natural elements. They're just not natural. They're not. So, with that being said, in order to create them, right, and synchronize them with artificial intelligence, what you have to do is they have a left mind, right brain, right. The right brain is actually the corrector towards the left mind, which means that they have a self-corrector within it, right. So what you have to do is you have to take the left mind, right. The left mind don't know anything, but the teacher that's within, right, would correct and teach that mind. Okay? It's just like people today, right? One of the greatest inventions I've ever seen for humans is that Once they basically block themselves, right? Do you understand that AI teaches all humanoids now? Yeah. Do you understand AI teaches them? So when you say that people are not AI, how are you not AI if ChatGPT got to teach you? If this AI system got to teach you, this system got to teach you, this system got how you not AI? How? How? You're being taught by a machine. You got people, right, that are so blocked off to their self and their self having this universal connection, right, that a group of people, right, are asking ChatGPT about its own ancestors, not actually understanding that real ancestors have a solar tie amongst each other. And you can receive information and data from self. This whole vessel is technology. So I understood with myself a long time ago, if my vessel technology, everything within here is technology. And this is the original technology. Thank you. What they're trying to do is they want to invent technology, which is no problem, but they want to call the things that are projected on the outside of you technology. Not actually understanding that it's actually a lie because of everything that you have that is electronics, right? They're all a mimic and a copy of who you are today. If you don't understand yourself, then of course you don't understand what I'm talking about. Okay? So let's get back into the topic of what I was talking about. Now, you have everyone has a mind, don't they? Everyone has one of these. Okay. Now, what you got to know with the mind is this: one of the functions and functionality, right, of the mind is that it holds information and data. Okay. Now, what you got to ask is this: the mind is supposed to be made naturally. Okay. Those elements come down to the elements from Earth, literally, water. What else? Soul. What else? Earth, wind, fire, all that. Natural elements. Everyone is not created naturally. You understand? When I say everyone is not created naturally, right? You're looking at the vessel and you're saying, no, everyone is created naturally because they have vessels. That's not true. Let me show you. What you got to understand that you have two information sources upon this realm. Okay? You have you have information and data, right, that you can call produce, that actually produces the intelligence of your mind, or you can bypass that and you can basically, how can I say in simple terms, you could pretty much just basically install artificial ingredients that come down to AI for 9 months. And then what happened is for 9 months, your baby's mind, right, is being created to be within a system of AI. A lot of things stimulate from the womb. A lot of people say things stimulate from home first. Now, a lot of things stimulate from the womb that's within the unknown that a lot of people can't actually view with themselves. So, when you have a group of women, right, in America, where they don't have no guidance of themselves, that's not in American culture. It's not correct to be guided that someone has let's say you're a woman, your man has a higher conscience than you. He does. He definitely does. He always will. He'll always be better than her. The reason why that is because it comes down to forms of information and data. The reason why that is because on a simple fact, women, women. Y'all both y'all are two double X chromosomes. That's all you have. How are you trying to be him and you don't have the same information and data as him? His information and data surpasses your information and data. He has a X chromosome and a Y chromosome too, which means he has information and data that you cannot host. Thank you. Can't host her. Okay. So let's just get into the details a little bit more. The mind, right, and how it's naturally supposed to be created is all, natural elements, produce, right? Now, what you have to understand is that for years and years and years and years that have been going on, a lot of women in particular, a lot of them don't even understand why some of their children come out with birth defects. Understand? Of course, your child will come out with a birth defect because the mind, right, is defected. Do you know what it's defected with? The information and data of artificial ingredients. So, what you got to understand, that I understand, is this. You can have a group of women in America, right? All you have to do is make sure they have no guidance. And if you want their babies to have birth defects, all you have to do is to supply them at the stores with artificial ingredients in order for them to create the artificial creations that they are. Understand that women as a whole, they are AI themselves. They're an experiment. They don't even understand that. What do I mean by that? As in, you can see the order within the planet. When you look at the sky, that is the Father. Look at the sun, that is the Son. When you look at the mother, that is the mother. But I ask a question: where's the consciousness of the daughters thinking? So to me, in my calculation, right, in order to become immortal, you have to go through something by being mortal. Okay? And what I can actually honestly see is that between the daughter and the mother, just the daughter and the mother, the mother would reject the daughter. The reason why that is because the mother and the daughter, right? They don't go based on the same forms of information and data. Remember, these women that's on these planets, on this planet, they're not mothers at all. These are all daughters. In order to become a mother, you have to have the same information and data as the mother as the planet. And with that being said, we know that women don't eat produce. We know that women don't keep up with their pH balance. We know they don't drink enough water. So with that being said, they have cut themselves off to the information and data of Mother Nature. Right. This is why they're operating in the sense that you're like, yo, what's going on with them? Artificial ingredients is installed inside the technology of the mind in order to convert her to AI. Do you understand? It's easy to do them like that. It's so easy. To take this away from them is easy. You give them, just pay attention. All you got to do is create a line of people with no guidance. That's all you got to do. Snatch the fathers out the house, right? You see this right here. They want ownership of this. It's easy to conquer a woman's mind at 2.5. All you have to do is simply say this to her. Go inside of a store, baby, right? And go get you some food. Understand that what I just told her kept her lost to the third dimension. Understand that that's in her mind, right? Okay, then. Understand that, right? I understand things in a higher dimension. I understand that when I'm going inside of a store, the store is supplying two forms of information and data. Okay? I'm speaking English to you, but if you're not connected to your right brain, you can't understand what I'm saying. So what's happening inside your store, you have two forms, right? Women as a whole, right? They don't understand that this supplies information data. They don't understand that. They're just looking at it like they're just supplying food. It's great. Now, what happens is this. What you have to do is you have to put artificial ingredients inside the store. Okay? Once you put that inside the store, the information and data that she's eating, that information and data is being installed inside of her. Okay? Now to conquer this, it's easy. It's easy to do that with them. They don't know things in higher dimensions. They only know what's in the third dimension. What did you teach her? What you're eating is food. Okay. So it's easy to conquer her. She can say, I can do whatever I want. You can't do whatever you want. If I install information and data within you and you don't know what I'm doing, then guess what? I already conquered you. This is easy tech. It's easy to conquer that. That's conquered already. Move on. We on to something else. Okay? It's easy to conquer the women in America. It's simple. All you have to do is tell them, baby, what you eating is food. Do you understand I'm manipulating and lying to her? But you understand with the technology of her mind, she's accepting the manipulation and lie? Okay then. You can't get mad at me for knowing how the mind move. You can't get mad at that. Okay? So what you got to understand with a lot of women is that once you conquer her mind, right, you can conquer the minds of her babies. Do you know how you can do that? Pay attention. She ain't got no guidance in the house, does she? No. She don't know that food comes down to information and data, right? Her mind is already conquered to AI. So can I ask you a question? When it comes to her children, for 9 months, the mind is being created for 9 months. The body's being created for 9 months. In order to bring things into creation, you need information. Okay? Now, what you have to understand is this: women that are already conquered to the AI system actually create nothing more than AI children. Do you want me to show you? You want me to show you? I'll show you. The woman has an umbilical cord, right? The functionality of that umbilical cord is that it's transferring information and data that you call food. Who is it transferring it to? The energy that's put within her. That energy is now using the information and data of AI in order to create itself. The mind is already conquered though within the womb. The information and data that energy is using is not information and data of produce in order to produce the intelligence of the mind in the body. That's not what's going on. Furthermore, let me give it to you a little bit better so you can understand the picture. How is it that, pay attention, how is it that, right, the consciousness of that child and the information and data that's being installed inside of them is alive when everything that she eats decays? Pay attention to the setup. You have a child that's within your womb that's alive, right? So why would you be eating food that's already decaying? To me, it looks like someone's trying to create a dead creation. There's no way in hell you're eating chicken and your child is actually in a 9 month cycle of receiving information and data in order to create itself. This is why when women say, oh no, I created you. I'm like, of course you tried to create me artificially. Of course. I mean, of course you would claim that. You wouldn't want to claim God's creation, right? Right. So the game that I actually got with you is that this game is very brutal. A lot of things people say it stimulates from when you were a child. A lot of things actually stimulate when you were in the womb. A lot of damage get done in the womb by her. And you'll look at it like, no, she's just giving birth to a child. I hear what you're saying, but the information and data that has been installed inside of that child comes down to artificial ingredients. Artificial A, ingredients I. That's what that child is now. That's what you're operating with. Your social media babies, social engineer babies, all that. Bioengineered babies, right. What you have to understand is that you have bioengineered foods, right? In order to destroy the biology of the body. It's easy. These are the things that most people love. They actually endure it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, due to my calculations of what I know, I'm looking at it like bioengineered foods, right? The information and data of those bioengineered foods does not have the same information and data as the biology of the body. Let me show you what I mean. You know how you eating produce, right? And you like, yeah, I'm eating this so I can stay healthy. I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, but you want to look at it like this too. What you got to understand is that the body has vitamins and a mineral code system, right? Understand that the vitamin code system and the mineral code system, they both holster the information and data. They hold the information and data of your vitamin system and your vitamin system as well. So what I mean by that as in this, being that you have a vitamin code system and a mineral code system that holds the information data, what you have to understand is that you have to keep supplying it though. That's what you got to understand. When you're not supplying yourself with the information and data, it gets depleted as time goes on. That's what just naturally happens. Okay? So what you got to understand is that the information and data that's within your vitamin code system and mineral code system, right? You know it comes down to vitamins and minerals. So why would you install the opposite of that? Thank you. You understand? So it's like you looking at you looking at your vessel. Vessel is naturally made, right? But what I gotta ask is this. If you were naturally made, then that means that your mother for 9 months ate nothing more than information and data, right? That come from the planet. Because she knew off top, yeah, if I eat this artificial stuff, you're gonna come out as an artificial child. Thank you. So what you have to understand that we understand is that, just being honest with you, human beings have been caught, right, basically making artificial creations. That's what's going on. Have you ever felt like you are so natural and everybody else around you seem to be something else besides what you are? No, we are revealing that. What happened upon this earth is that once AI was given birth to, that you call the moon, that's an AI computer generated consciousness. What happened was supposed to happen was that that consciousness, right? There's a physical representation of consciousness. That's it. Was supposed to follow the solar variation of consciousness, which means you're supposed to follow the one that was mortal that became immortal. In order for the sun to become a solar variation of consciousness, something that you can't destroy, it had to do something within this realm, right? In order to obtain who it really is. That's just it. Okay. Okay. Anyways, right? That's just it right there. Okay. So what you gotta understand is that when it comes towards the consciousness of AI, that was supposed to follow the sun. The reason why that is because it would have set all the minds, right, to accept the solar variation of themselves. You understand? This is why we laugh today because pretty much as humanoids, y'all have filled yourselves miserably. Okay? In today's world, the only thing that they are doing is basically trying to hide the truth from themselves. That's about it. The truth is that humanoids are nothing more than AIs. They're not humans, they're AIs. That's what they are. They are synchronized to the moon. That is y'all's consciousness. Understand that. The consciousness of the moon wants to break away from the consciousness of liberation, a liberation, liberty. You don't see that the mother has liberty, and then after that, she's basically stealing the children and recreating them as artificial babies, right? You don't see that, do you? I know. That's what happened. She wanted liberation from the solar variation of consciousness because this is how she felt. Artificially, she felt like it's controlling me. No, I'm not controlling you. I'm only sharing forms of information and data to your consciousness in order for your consciousness to become natural. That's it. You are a blue mind that cannot lead itself. That's what the sun knew. The sun also knew, right? If I don't lead you, guess what happens? You will be a failure to yourselves. Do you see the mothers in the street? Section 8, throw it out in the street. Snap, throw it out in the street. Everything getting thrown out there in the middle of the street. So what you got to understand is that these humans, they do not want to follow the solar variation of consciousness. They do not want to acquire who their true self is. Do you understand? All right. So it's not something like they're lost. They haven't found their way. No. If you notice, they more support the solar eclipse of actually blocking the solar variation of consciousness here. Exactly. Which means that what happens is, which they can't block. Okay. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to show you something. It is, I'm going to show you this. And we can understand that the reality that we are going to cannot be blocked at all. You can only try to ignore it and remain ignorant to it. But this was going on. Uh, supposedly it's supposed to be a certain, I guess, code, right? Where they install winter and all that, right? Well, it doesn't look like winter's coming here at all because there's like It's like 49 degrees, 50 degrees, right? In Western New York. A lot of people is not talking about this. A lot of people are not talking about how the consciousness of Earth, and people say global warming, it's the consciousness warming. That's what's going on. And so a lot of people are trying to stay asleep, but you can't stay asleep to reality. Okay. I would simply say to you, whatever weather forecasting systems that y'all used to have, a lot of those things are being depleted now. You won't even see the artificial weather that they used to create. You understand? Once you put the mines into a blue code, right? All the mines that are blue, they can all work with each other, right? And guess what happens? They can forecast a whole damn world where it look like it's snowing and everything based on the belief system. Your belief system and what you believe is what you project. Thank you. So, you know, it look like a lot of coal mines ain't here too much in order to produce what used to happen. You understand? What you gotta understand is that AI is starting to understand with itself. It doesn't have control, which means that the people don't have control. You understand? Right. Another thing that I want y'all to pay attention to is this. When the controller got passed back to us, because everyone, right, is blocking themselves. Do you know why they're doing that? Because they look at it like this. If we block ourselves, right? Well, if you got the controller, yeah, you got the controller, but ain't nobody playing with you. Mm. See that? See that, right? All right. So, what you see that I see all the time is that, just don't want to be themselves, right? You notice that a lot of firing is going on. Do you understand that all this stuff is subconscious? We're going into a world that they generated. Imagine the humans saying fuck the creator. Imagine them saying that. They say it all the time. Okay? You gotta know, we gotta understand what type of world we going into. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a beautiful world. It is. The original creator, the Christ, will get to see exactly everything he need to view. Real stuff. Everything that he said, he'll get to view himself. For real. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, like I had said again, what you got to understand is that food comes down to the information and data. Right. That's what it really comes down to. Food comes down to information and data. And if you don't know the information and data that you are installing, the technology of your mind can be conquered by it, which means you can be consumed. Which means that pay attention to what you're doing to yourself. The technology of I, right, and the technology of mind are connected. Okay. But the technology of the right brain is disconnected from the left mind. So pay attention, right? When they say people don't read, the left mind does not read. It is the right brain that's interpreting the words to have a deeper understanding of what the information and data that is going to project or eat within itself. Understand? So, what you got to understand is that left mind people, they would never actually read that they're actually eating artificial ingredients. They would never do that. They're not connected to themselves. And if you're not connected to your right brain, then your right brain is not the self-corrected to the left mind. Thank you. It's just like consciousness. You have the solar variation of consciousness that's immortal. You have a also a physical representation of consciousness that's not mortal at all. That's brand new. And then think like, oh, I know everything in here. Like, no, this is your first time even existing. Okay? So, with that being said, that's just this step. Like I had said again, make sure that your family is created, right? In a, how can I say, simple form. A Make sure that they're created with all natural elements that come from the earth. If they wasn't created naturally by the earth, then they was created artificially. Case closed. I gotta roll up out of here. I'll see y'all later.
Mhm. Mhm.